I hope it's different than last time because, and that there's like a twist, another twist, at the end. Let me save again, just to be safe. Let's keep going. I still got time. Yeah, they better explain this. Tyra, among us. God damn, stop it! The word maid refers to, or rather, I can't think of anyone but you. Akane. That's... It's really her. You killed Tamori? Now, wait a minute. There must be a misunderstanding. I mean, something like this. This is too much. Please, wait a minute, everyone. I have nothing. I didn't do anything. The dying message was written by a person. The Lord does not lie. As long as the dying message refers to the word maid, it has already been revealed. Was it a lie at the beginning of the trial to cover up her crime? No. Tyra, tell me with your own words. Are you really the culprit? Me? I'm not the killer. Akane. Why am I the culprit? The dying message may say the word maid, but there's a big X next to it. You guys have only interpreted the maid and didn't interpret the X after that. That X could literally be an X. Doesn't that mean negative? In other words, it means not the maid, so I'm not the culprit. I don't know yet if what Tyra said is true, but certainly as she said, we haven't fully decoded the dying message yet. Okay, the X at the end. Well, if you simply looked at it, it really looks like it says not the maid, but if the dying message means not the maid, as Tyra says, I would rather be more suspicious of Tyra. Huh? Why? Don't you think so? Who is the killer? I don't recall seeing messages saying, who is not the killer. Seems illogical to write. An innocent one in blood by the own victim. Rather, you would think it's not the maid to take yourself off the suspect list. Hey, doesn't that mean the culprit themselves wrote the dying message? Yeah, that's right. There's no law saying that dying messages are all true. They can show up in many ways. For example, the killer manipulates the dying message to lead an advantage in the trial. Yeah, maid X as it is, meaning the only one who would benefit from writing a message that is not a maid would be the maid herself, Tyra. Whether the interpretation of the dying message is this or that, there is no way to avoid the word maid. Akane, you really are. Is Tyra really the culprit? Can we conclude the case like this? But what is this feeling? Is it my heart screaming? I feel like all of this. It feels so contradictory. Is it okay to end up with Tyra being the culprit? Can I vote now? It'll be painful to do anymore. It'll just be... I just want to end this quickly. Wait. Kurokawa. Obviously. It's true that Tyra was suspicious. Clearly the way she acted seems questionable. However, there's a problem yet to be solved. What? An unsolved problem? As Kurokawa said, it's too soon to end like this. There must be a cause for this unpleasant feeling. Yeah, a secret that hasn't been solved yet. Spinny time. It can't be her, right? Like, if it was her, why would she even say that her alibi is that she was in the kitchen? Because that instantly makes her suspicious. Broken flashlight, third flashlight, Hatano's injury, piece of bloody cloth. Okay. An unsolved problem, I do not know. Well, what's the point? The dying message is also over. What else is there? Is it over? Secret of the window is over. Tool procurement problem has also been solved. I don't necessarily think that, because the flashlight, we still haven't really talked about those. Only for murder, you're thinking... Don't you think about cases other than murder? Cases other than murder? Something other than murder? What problem is more important than murder? Huh? What do you have to say? Kirikawa's words have a clue hidden in them. Certainly so far I've been confused about the dying message and the crime situation, but I've been rushing to see the real important fact that we might have missed. What we have solved so far in this case, what are we missing? It's gotta be the last one. I've got to agree with her. More than murder. Third flashlight. Hitano's injury. Is that what she wants me to bring up? Because we still haven't figured out that part? I'm gonna go with that. I think that's what she's trying to get me to say. Let's do it. Come on, shoot. Let's go! Alright. Okay. Yes, we do need to talk about her injury more, and why it happened. Okay. Yeah, right, that's it. And did you find something, Maeda? Guys, I think it's still a little bit early to call Taira the culprit. What? What do you mean? You were the one that said the dying message had the word made. About that, I still can't conclude for sure. Thanks to Kirikawa, I could think of something actually. Right after the incident, do you all remember Hitano's injury? Of course. Now the trial is coming to an end, and Hitano's condition is worsening. Get that in order, okay? Why was Hitano injured? Everyone think about it. Why did she get hurt? You saw it, she was hurt by a wire trap in the leg. Think about it. Who installed the wire trap? When does this come into place? I mean, the killer must have installed it. That's it. In other words, your opinion is that the suspected killer, meaning Taira, installed the wire trap, right? Now wait a second. I've never installed anything like that. Why would I aim for Ayame-chan? That doesn't really mean you can't, though. Wait a minute. Taira installed the wire trap? The wire trap is there, but when was it installed? When was the wire installed? I don't know exactly what's on the wire, but I can guess because I was there when Hitano was injured. Hitano was trying to grab something at that time. The wire was installed along the way to serve as the bait for it. Then the wire must have been installed as soon as the object was placed. And that object wasn't there, at least until that point. It was after the investigation, because I didn't see that smoke there before. It was after. When the wire was installed, it was probably immediately after starting the investigation. I believe so. Is there a good reason for that opinion? The wire is not visible, so the exact installation time of the wire itself is unknown, but by other elements it can be inferred. Actually, Hitano wasn't just hurt. When she was injured, I know I was right next to them, but Hitano was injured by the wire while approaching to find and investigate some kind of object, and she got caught in the trap. Hitano, do you remember? Perhaps. Are you referring to the burnt flashlight? Yeah, there was no such thing in the corner when I found the body with everyone in the power room, but it was there after the investigation started. Ah, in other words, the killer used the flashlight as bait to induce someone to get caught in the wire trap? If so, they set the flashlight and installed the wire at the same... immediately after the investigation began, is the approximate time to install it. Yeah, it's right after the start of the investigation, right? The wire was installed shortly after the investigation began? Yamaguchi. It's strange, this is weird. Weird. Is it not weird? You, why the sudden yelling? Everyone open your ears and listen. If Taira is the culprit, it means Taira installed the wire right after the investigation started, yes, but that's impossible. Why, you ask? It's because Taira was with me! You were with Taira? Surely. Then there was a relationship? Can you stop that? Don't put a joke like that at a time like this. Huh? Does that mean? I know this exactly because Taira was in the same place I was and we didn't do anything. What? How can you say that you didn't do anything so proudly? No, what I mean is, I was going to do some investigation, but I seldom made progress, so... Anyway, that's not what's important. It's Taira's story. I swear to you, Taira has been stuck in one spot since everyone gathered to the power room until the trial announcement came out. What? Is that for real? Apart from anything else, there was only one spot that was inefficient even if you did a little investigation. I want to hear why. Why didn't you mention this, Taira? No, it was shocking that Kazuna-chan died. Did any of us do that? Even so, Everyone participated in the investigation, but that is not a reason. It doesn't really matter. What's important than that now, Tyra didn't do anything at the time of the investigation, meaning she couldn't install the wire, right? Yeah, that's why I said it's weird. Then Tyra's not the killer? I mean, I've been trying to say that from the very beginning. But what's called a maid? Are we wrong with the interpretation? It's not just that. Tyra lied. She's still suspect no matter how we continue. But when that happens, you still can't explain the wire trap. What's going on? I think my head will be weird if this gets twisted anymore. Can't we stop this already? If you want to die, do it. I won't stop you. It's definitely weird. Apart from being simply contradictory, logically it's playing itself. Separately, as if several incidents seem to be a gathering event. Why? What's missing? It's as if the contradictions don't stop to conclude that Tyra is the culprit, but there doesn't seem to be any different direction in the case. What is the truth of this case? If Tyra isn't the culprit, what we've been doing so far for? You mean it was all good for nothing? But if that's the case then, who is the culprit? Who do we vote for? I can't keep going. We keep hitting dead ends. Even in the midst of this, Hatano's leg injury must be getting worse. Well, I'll say this. Other than Tyra, is there not another suspicious person? Who is that? Kurokawa. What? Why Kurokawa? Well, I don't understand it because of the dying message and the wire install, but Kurokawa suddenly disappeared during the investigation. Isn't she suspicious to anyone? Looking at it, the broadcast announcing the start of the class trial rang, but we gathered quite late and Monokuma brought her. Didn't Kinjo mention this? He said that he had main suspects in mind. If Tyra, who's been attracting attention as a high-level suspect, is not the culprit, will the other suspect, Kurokawa, who is the next suspicious person, naturally be her? Wait a second. It is true that Kurokawa was late, but what disappeared during the investigation was investigated by Kurokawa's own way. It was Kurokawa's discovery that the kitchen knife was actually disappeared from the kitchen. But even if they were investigating, still why arrive late? I was curious from the start of the trial. I want to know the reason of being late, even if you're not the culprit. Kurokawa, you're not a killer, right? Please answer us. Don't be uneasy. I'm not the culprit. The reason for being late, I can't tell you now. After the trial, I'll tell you why. If it was for a good reason, isn't there no reason to hide it? Why can't you tell us? The more you hide it, the more suspicious it gets. I'm sorry, but trust me, I'm not the killer. Regardless of the reason, isn't it a little too much to say that Kurokawa is the culprit? She doesn't seem to have anything to do with the dying message. It would have been possible to install the wire, however. No, but there is no other way. This is impossible. She is impossible. It's all possibilities again. Who's the killer then? Even if it's a ghost, it's not impossible? Ha, you really are fools without answers. Shouldn't you be aware of this? What do you mean? What? That's the truth of the case. I told you, didn't I? I said I wouldn't help you people, but once it's a trial with my life at stake, if there's no answer, I'll solve it. So in other words, you are idiots with no answer to the extent that I have to come out like this. Damn it! Makaru is destroying us! Makaru's attitude is sarcastic, but I think she knows something. Makaru may give us a clue about this situation that we cannot overcome alone. When you look at the goals for your reasoning, I can see how hard your brains are. To put it simply, you are fools who try to solve the same solution without thinking of any other method when no other problem was solved. Thank you for your kind summary description, but what do you know yourself? If the same method doesn't work, you should know how to challenge it using a new method. Understood, child? But what do you mean by new method? It means throwing away stereotypes. Oh my. When it's so quiet, you finally open your mouth, police. Is it not a problem if the best young police officer in Japan gets slower answers than a professor? It doesn't matter, but I guess it's all a competition for you. Let's just say it's not. There's nothing to be gained from this charade. There's something sparkling between you two. But what's that mean? Stereotypes to throw it away? Did you both find out something? I'll apologize first. When the trial happened, I was about to be overthrown by the killer because of the misinterpretation of the case. But I deserved it. I was guessing to some extent, but I didn't think the case would be so twisted. It was twisted? It's natural to say you guys made it public. The case is simple. There's a criminal, and the criminal killed the victim. If you tried to solve it, there will be contradictions. Then, wait a minute, so then this isn't a murder case? No, it is a murder. It's clearly malevolent, but do you recall what I mentioned earlier? An ordinary murder case would be difficult to solve if you think of it as a simple step-by-step scenario. While investigating before the trial, I guessed the outline frame, but at that point, I couldn't confirm this either. However, as the trial progressed, Tyra's reactions and the dying message being solved, a truth was reached. To be precise, the riddle that has been solved so far was the one that derived from a clue, but what's the truth about it? To put this simply, the crime is not a case where there's one culprit and one victim being mentioned. What? Not one culprit, not one victim? So you mean there was an accomplice? But didn't Monokuma say that accomplices had no advantage? No, it's a bit ambiguous to call it an accomplice. But what is certain is that a third party, other than the criminal, was clearly involved. Third party? Who was it? You, Akane. Eh? Tyra was the third party. Is that different from a culprit or accomplice? For starters, I like to see it as that. As you guys said, if you're a criminal, you have to install the wire trap. But Tyra herself couldn't afford it. Because of Yamaguchi, he also saw Tyra stand still during that time. Then Akane no longer needs to be questioned, right? No, wait a minute, I'm really sorry, but I still don't get it. If Tyra isn't the culprit, I don't know why the dying message points to the maid. And she even lied to us. That's why I told you. Tyra is a third party in this case. What? It's not a culprit, it's different from an accomplice, but it's obviously a third party who is heavily involved in the case. Maybe she's not even aware of it. The woman's personality is showing her heart on her face. It's proof that the maid lied and wrote the dying message, lying to everyone here. Huh? Seems by your facial expressions, you don't understand it. Okay, before discussing the real criminal, let's begin with a question about it. Spinny time. What are we talking about? Oh boy, this is getting long. Secret note, lighter, wire trap, the third flashlight. Oh, probably the third flashlight because she's the third party. She had to go there. Tyra isn't just a suspect, she's a third party. I'm gonna go to the third flashlight for now. I'm not sure what that means. According to your reasoning, at first glance, Tyra Akane looks like the culprit. But for Tyra Akane to put the wire trap is not possible. There's a contradiction. In fact, it's okay to say that your reasoning in return is the correct answer. A rookie mistake! Someone clean up this mess! First place being the third party, doesn't that mean that there is a third person besides the criminal and the victim? 3 or more purple people were involved. Is there any evidence to prove this? Yes, third flashlight. Okay. Alright. I'm still kind of confused though, because that was the flashlight by the wire trap, so she... If that is hers, then she had to have put it there, right? Unless it was left behind at the scene and the culprit moved it, but I don't know. No, Yuhara, wait. There was evidence of 3 people involved in the crime. What would that be? A flashlight, of course. There was one more flashlight. What do you mean there was one more? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't you know? You cut your leg trying to get it. Hatano, that flashlight you were trying to pick up. Oh, that's why Hatano injured her leg on the wire. That flashlight, right? But what does it mean when you say there was one more? I think there were some people who haven't seen it. Let me tell you, in the Switchium, there were 2 broken flashlights. By the way, Maeda, other than those 2, the third flashlight... On the day the second floor was opened, everyone saw it while investigating, right? There's a dark place where the switch doesn't light up. Without a flashlight, nothing is visible. And the fact that Tamori died there would have been something to do with the Switchium, and in that case, she must have brought a flashlight. So one of the 3 flashlights would have to be the one Tamori brought. And if you don't see anything, murder is not possible. It means that the culprit killed Tamori inside the Switchium, and the culprit also took a flashlight. so the second flashlight was brought by the killer. Huh? Hey, wait a minute. Who's the owner of the third flashlight? That's right. Maeda explained it very well. The switchium is at a known place, and there's nothing visible, so naturally you expect to carry a flashlight in order to go there. Even if I went, I would need my flashlight back once I'm done with my business. There's no reason to leave it behind. Wasn't this the aftermath of a struggle between the criminal and Tamori? One moment. Isn't that just by reasoning alone? Unless there's a 0% chance that someone forgot it and left it in the past, it wouldn't be clear. No, Yuhara, there's evidence that all 3 flashlights are involved in the incident. As Kinjo said, 2 flashlights were broken, and the last one, it was burnt. Correct. It's a flashlight before it caught in the fire. That's the flashlight that was on the scene. Now you realize, is there a fool who still don't understand? According to your inference, the fact that the case involved 3 people was the adequate basis of this case. I had no idea. You must not have known. Probably the killer tried to use Tyra. Really? What does that mean? We've come this far, so I wonder if it's okay to reveal it. I called Tyra a third party, but this doesn't mean that you simply witnessed or helped the killer. What is it then? How Tyra was involved in this incident? By the time, everyone might have noticed. Not the culprit, but the executioner. Is it appropriate to call them like this? Eh? What? What's an executor? No way that fits Tyra stabbing Tamori. I guess she didn't even do it? That's right. There's a criminal who killed her breath with a critical hit, but it was probably Tyra who made Tamori moribund. What? That's a lie. Tyra did? Kinjo, wait a minute! Hey, don't you know what I'm talking about? Tyra Akane, you're also a criminal who committed attempted murder, you bloody bitch! What? Now, wait a second. What is this so suddenly? Hey, is Tyra the executioner? What's wrong, Kobushikawa? You said you couldn't admit that Tyra wasn't the culprit? No, rather than being able to admit it, but why Tyra? Yeah, I don't know what it means that there is another criminal who inflicted a critical... Jesus, critical. I'm sorry. Critical hit. Even though she was an executioner in the first place, and I can't believe that Akane did this. If you dishonor Akane without compelling reason, I cannot forgive you. That's right. Tyra would never do something like that. It's starting again. Didn't people say that they can't know just by looking at them? Oh, you think Tyra Akane is not the one to do that. After all, you just don't know enough about her. But why don't you tell me, why would Tyra stab Tamori to the verge of death? How did that happen? You've already let that go, didn't you? We let her go? You don't mean... Yes, the evidence that Tyra Akane personally injured Tomura Kizuna is exactly what you suspect. A dying message pointing to the maid, Tyra Akane's suspicious lie. But why wasn't she the culprit of the direct murder? That was also solved by you. Simple, isn't it? That woman didn't have time to install the wire. What? Everyone looks like you can't understand. Sorry, but besides this, there is evidence that Tyra Akane committed a murder attempt. Well, is there any other evidence? No, Kinjo's is right. There's evidence only I can think of. Maeda, even you? Wait, what is it? Why, I'd love to think that, but as Kinjo says, it's all true. I knew it too. If you look at the scene of the incident, there were traces of others who couldn't exist. That trace was probably left by Tyra. According to the images in my memory, there's one definitive clue. Spot selection will start. I'm gonna say no refresh needed because this is probably a very simple game. Spot selection. Okay, what points to... What points to Tyra? What points to her? We haven't talked about the cloth yet, so I'm inclined to say that. We talked about the fuse. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm gonna go with the cloth. I don't think it's here. Let's think again. It's obvious according to our reasoning earlier, the killer set up the fire to make it look like they went through out the window. If that's the case, the traces left behind in that place contradict the original intention of the killer. The traces in that place must have been left by Tyra, who did not know the killer's intentions. The fuse, then? Is it the fuse? If I can actually get over to it. Come on. Get over it. Oh, I just had it. I don't think it's here. Wait, what? I'm confused. I'm confused. Is it this side? No. Went through the window. Oh, the burnt marks, maybe. Let's try that. No, what are you talking about then? The killer set up the fire to make it look like they went through the window. Oh. The blood stains here. Right here. There we go. Okay. Remember what we discussed earlier about why the killer started the fire? The fire was used to heat the glass window and break it remotely, and to make us think that the killer was inside the switchium and smashed the glass to escape, right? Yeah, and in fact, we almost got caught in that trap and confused our reasoning. Now we were talking about why Tyra was involved in the case. Think carefully. If the killer's purpose was to make us think they broke the glass, why is there a blood spot at the entrance? Bloodstain at the entrance? Is that so? A bloodstain like walking out of the switchium. That's evidence from a third party that's different from the criminal's intentions. Was that from a struggle? Maybe it's just Tamori's blood. If Tamori went out of the switchium while bleeding, the power room outside should have been filled with blood spots, don't you think so? Does it mean the blood spot was after coming out of the switchium because it was dark then? There were 2 broken flashlights inside the switchium. If it were broken during a struggle, you wouldn't know that blood would splatter in the dark after you stabbed Tamori. Well, then the blood traces come from Akane? Wait a minute. After the killer attacked Tamori, they could have set off the fire after walking out towards the entrance without knowing that the blood was on it, right? In this way, there's no room for Tyra to intervene. Inori, I'm sorry, but that's also impossible. The one who killed Tamori, by killing her, probably didn't splash a drop of blood on their body. Yeah, because maybe the real killer used that tool to prevent them... Okay, this is the cloth. That tool was the cloth. Okay, that's where I bring it up. Actually, there was a piece of cloth covered in the blood in the corner of the switchium. Ugh, bloody. This is... Right. Anyone planning a murder must be concerned about the bleeding. Probably, they use it on Tamori, without a drop of blood on your own body. If the real culprit uses it and murders Tamori, there is no reason for a blood smear on the entrance. What? Then, she really... Are you saying Akane stabbed Tamori? I can't believe it. Why did Tyra do that? Tyra, no matter what you did in the end, there is a real criminal who directly killed Tamori other than you. You're not treated as a real criminal in this trial. If you admit to the crime, you won't be executed. So tell me with your own mouth, did you really do it, and why? I'm sorry. Sorry? Are you sorry? That it's really true? You guys are right. I'm the one. I stabbed Kazuna-chan. What? I'm not particularly sympathetic, but I'm curious. Why did you do that? Kazuna-chan. No. Tamori Kazuna, because she was a human being who had no choice but to die. What? What are you talking about? It was Tyra herself that most defended Tamori, didn't you? I'm sorry. It's just in case I was found out. I just made an excuse and got scared. That must have been it. Actually, you seem to believe that you were the real culprit. But I want you to believe in this. I never decided to kill and stab Kazuna-chan. What does that mean? You didn't stab with murder intention, but after that remark, you seem to despise Tamori. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Let me give you an explanation. I'm not sure about Makaru and Yuhara know this, but the day after the motives came out, we all went to persuade Kazuna-chan. Actually, Kazuna-chan was also in loneliness, and she tried to convince herself because she knew it deep down. I finally opened my heart to Kazuna-chan, and we hugged, and I finally thought we became friends truly. But that evening, Kazuna-chan had something to talk about, so she called me to the switchium. I took a flashlight and went there. Oh. Kazuna-chan, are you here? Right here, Tyra. Kazuna-chan, I know you wanted to talk about something, but why in such a dark place? Yeah, no one's coming here, right? Oh, no, I don't think so. So, what do you want to talk about? Yeah, that's right. I am too scared now. What? Scared? Why? You know the motives given by Monokuma, remember? Our secrets are written in there. It seems like you all threw it away, but I got no clue whose I stumbled upon in the trash. It's someone's secret. Do you want to see? First, look at the contents. Wait, what is this? Yuka Maeda may actually know the identity of the mastermind? Whoa, what? What? Huh? Oh my god, this music. Maeda, is that true? Oh my god, that's Sprite. No, I'm just a normal student. You're not lying, right? You're not actually playing with us while you know about them, do you? Stop it. Now it's not the time to reproach each other. Yeah, the message is surprising, but it is urgent that we hear Tyra's testimony. Tyra, resume at once. Okay. I can't trust Yukon as long as I see that. It's not just that. Knowing the mastermind, they might play with use and try to kill us later. No, Maeda wouldn't do that. False. You don't know people by just looking at them. Mitsuhiro-kun did the same, remember? Then what do you want to do? Even if you tell the others. No, that's not the case. Then we can kill him. With our hands. What? The reason I called you is actually this. Aren't you close to Yu-kun? Wouldn't you be able to take him out? You know what you're talking about? Listen, I have a good idea. If you can only help me, otherwise how can I kill Yu-kun? Without being noticed by someone. First of all, I brought the preparations. The fuse, lighter, and finally is a knife. Once you pick up Yuki-kun and call him somewhere, I'll stab him with the knife. I'm not talking about that. I asked if you were serious. If you kill, you'll die in a trial. That's when the killer is stupidly caught. Did you forget that the only way to get out from here is to murder someone? So first help me. If my murder is successful, I'll help you. What do you think? Let's get out together. Are you crazy? Why do I want to murder? What? Don't you want to get out of here? I want to go out, but doing that at the expense of another's life. That's it then. I'm the only one who wants to go outside more than anyone here. I'm not a human being who will rot in this place. Why should I? A bright future awaits me once I get out of this place. Actually, I got everything ready after those 2 days from the previous class trial. I also brought these tools early today. I'm going to kill this traitor. Wouldn't be less guilty to kill a bad guy, right? You better think and join me here. What are you saying? Being prepared for a murder since the second day? Then you didn't open up to us. Huh? Oh my god, this stupid bitch. Of course I was acting. Do you think I'm gonna go and fall for that crappy event? I can't. Alright, so you just do what I tell you to do. Know that you were lucky I chose you. Please bring Yuki-kun here by tomorrow morning. No, I hate it. Why should I help murder? And I can't believe that Mayuta-kun is such an evil person. That's obviously Monokuma's lie. Anyway, I'm not going to help you. And Kazuna-chan, please wake up and don't do this. If you are with us, I'm sure we can find a way. Oh, okay, you. What? Well, I didn't expect you to cooperate from the start with the murder. Because you didn't have to, I have to change the target as planned. What are you... Oh, shit. Hey, Kazuna-chan. You dodged it. She's Sans. Why are you doing this? Kazuna-chan. Why are you asking? I'm trying to kill you. Kazuna-chan. You already knew I was going to kill, remember? I can't keep you alive. It's a pity that you can't kill Yuki Maeda, but it doesn't matter if you can't get out of here. Yeah, someone save me. Is that true? Tamori tried to kill Akane first? That's kind of what I thought, though I didn't think it was her. Even so, before the motives came out, She just made up her mind to kill someone, and all the appearances she showed us were an act? Yeah, Tamori Kazuna was that kind of person. So, you felt in danger of your own life and attacked Tamori in self-defense? Oh no, that's not right. Listen, I didn't really intend to stab Tamori in self-defense or any of the sort. Then why did you? Tamori ran to kill you. What happened after that? I noticed that Kazuna-chan was serious, and I was too scared. I tried to run for it. Then I was pushed down by Kazuna and fell over. And I tried to resist somehow, and the flashlights we were holding broke each other. That was when the two broken flashlights were broken in the switchium. I couldn't see anything because of the flashlight broken, and I was right next to Kazuna-chan with the knife. I was really scared and tried to resist with my whole body. Honestly, I think it was pure luck that I didn't get hit by the knife. By the way, suddenly Kazuna-chan at one point became really quiet, and that's when I took my chance to get out of the switchium. You got out? Okay, you stabbed Tamori Kazuna while resisting without knowing it? When I looked at my hands in a bright place, I see a lot of blood. There's a lot of red on my clothes. I got in a panic, didn't look behind me, got out of the power room and ran to the bathroom to wipe off the blood. So that's what happened. I was wiping it with water until the smell of blood was washed away. Then the announcement came out. I thought Kazuna-chan was the one whom I stabbed, was found, so my vision became white. After that, when I went to the power room, there was a fire for some reason, and the switchium was all messed up. Then yourself. There was someone else who touched the scene of the crime. Did you think it was you who killed her? That's not it. What happened was... That's how the events are connected. This is all I know about the case. I never meant to stab Kazuna-chan with evil intentions. Whatever the reason, good or bad. Once you look at the results, they are Taira Akane stabbed Tamori Kazuna. This is a fact. You cannot change its meaning for whatever reason you might say. Okay, but like she didn't mean to, and it was in self-defense. It was in self-defense and she literally didn't even try to stab her. It was a complete accident. How can you still be mad at her for that? But you said I wasn't the culprit. Yes, you just stabbed her, like I said. There's another killer who caused the fire and the final blow. If the trial settles safely, it'll be the real criminal, not you, who's going to be executed. So, your sins will be laid aside after the trial is over. Don't think you'll just go over it, dude. Now wait a second, it was an accident, wasn't it? Besides, if Tamori hadn't been stabbed, then Taira would have died. That's right. Don't be too forceful with them. Taira herself is more distressed than anyone else. I'm sorry. Hey, second to the fact that it was a crime or forced assault, the trial isn't over yet, right? Now that we know the case, we need to find the true culprit. So let's not get excited just yet, children. Fine, let's talk about this later, because the trial is the most important thing right now. Akane, don't blame yourself too much, because in the end you survived. For the most part, I think that's the best outcome, that Akane lived. Isn't it important to be alive? Hey, Ame-chan. Thank you. Now then, let's organize the case based on Taira's words. Tamori tried to plan a killing a few days ago, and she called Taira to the switchium to plan her crime with them, and tried to kill Taira in the process. But her plan failed. She died. This is the whole story of case. No, we still don't know who did it. Hey, you stay still. There's a bit of a mental ferocity in there. Now then, let's do a little summary. First, number of people involved in this case are 3. One is the victim, Kazuna Tamori. The next person is a criminal who has not been identified yet, and the last one is a third party, Taira Akane. Tamori, who wanted to leave here as soon as possible, planned a murder, before even the motives came out. Her rebellion was just an excuse for Tamori, and for the first time she attempted to make Taira join forces in this crime. Tamori worked with someone. It would have been easy for her to escape, but Taira refused, and as expected, she tried to get rid of Taira, the one who heard her plan, and leave no traces behind. However, the attack missed, and in return, there was an accident where the knife ended up stabbing Tamori while tangled up in the dark. Taira was surprised that she stabbed her, and then she ran to the bathroom. But when she heard the announcement that the body was found, she went back to the power room, and there were things like the fire that she hadn't even done, so Akane was confused at that time. So then, in the end, the killer made use of Taira's talent and put the blame on her in order to make us vote for her? Yeah, there were 3 people involved, so the case was so complicated as it is. By the way, no matter what happened this far, this would mean that she's not the culprit of this case, right? But then who is the real culprit? The true culprit's identity. Ugh. Ah! Hiranami, what is it? Did you figure out something? Nope, it's just amazing that Kurokawa is just very active in participating in the conversation. Are you serious? I have to say, there are already hints about the real culprit. What? Who is it? Really, who is it? In general, there is no one who does not have a noticeable alibi other than Taira. In other words, it is possible for anyone to commit the crime. However, there's only one of us who had led all the situations to their advantage. Yes, and very precisely, may I add. Is there someone like that? Who on earth? Surely it's not Taira. There's someone who has taken advantage of the circumstances of this case with too ridiculous timing, that it could simply be a coincidence at first glance. Think about it. The fire was not caused by Taira. Then obviously the real culprit set the fire. But don't you think there's something amiss? When you leave a fire, the corpse will need to be burned, and you don't know when it could be found. But Hatano actually found it. Yes, Hatano found it. Well, if that's the case, the wire matters too. Even if you install a wire trap as bait for a burnt flashlight in the corner, there is a possibility that no one will find it, and it could just end up there, right? But it didn't because... Huh? Isn't something a little weird? What does the sighting between the fire and the wire have in common? If you think about it, you will see the answer. The person who led all the situations to their own advantage, the persons who led the case so that they could solve it on their own accord, the only person in doubt, they are strong enough to instigate most of the incident. The first time they noticed the fire in the wire trap. No. Why? I have to stop thinking about it. The main thing is that they did this job. Okay. If you don't find out the truth, then we all will die. Wait. Are they saying that she purposefully ran into it? Am I stupid? Is that what they're saying? Oh my god! No! As Kinjo says, there was only one person, only someone who could move the situation to their advantage. That person is Hatano. You! What? Huh? Now, what are you... Maeda, did you get tired? The culprit was the one who hurt Hatano's leg. But what if Hataro was the culprit? She was aiming her own leg? Nonsense! It would be more reliable to say that I'm the one crazy. That is quite true. Yeah. But please don't mess with me, Maeda-kun. No matter what, Ayame-chan is being the culprit is... That's right. Kinjo, don't stand still and say something. Maeda seems to be losing it now. No, that incompetent made a very precise reasoning, don't you agree? The culprit is Ayame Hatano. She must be. Dude, no way! I'm not exactly denying it, but I don't have a clear picture. Can you at least clarify why you believe so? It's because of a few reasons Hatano is suspect. The true culprit of this case is not strange to any of us. The reason is because Taira pulled the ceremony of the incident, and the killer was only a light maneuver in the scene. All of our alibis were also in the dark, and there was contradictions no matter who you put as the killer. That's why Hatano's behavior was even more unnatural. She's still quiet. What are you talking about? The killer made an alibi trick by building a fire and finishing Tamori herself, in which Taira couldn't. Until here, everyone understands, right? Then here, who was the first to discover the fire? What do you think? That was Hatano. But there's no way to call someone a culprit with just that, excuse me. You shut up, second-hand killer. Hey, shut up. It's not just that. And even though the corpse was found, the killer installed a wire trap as if aiming at someone. And who was the person who discovered this first? It was also Hatano too. Let's think. At best, she made an alibi trick if someone else finds it first. There will still be too many dangerous variables. But if you set a fire, you can create the best situation you want. Are you referring to the situation where the criminal himself is putting off the fire with other people? That's right. Because the original purpose of the killer's fire was to break the glass and heat it to make someone think that a person escaped. If the killer was with other people in that situation, they would have their own alibi. Well, it's a crappy trick, so I didn't even doubt it from the beginning. In addition, Hatano would have had enough time to install the wire. Listening to Tyra's story, Tamori brought all the tools. So you can use them in the arms of the dead Tamori. Then, no, but Ayame-chan... Well, there must be something wrong with that. I mean, it could be a coincidence. Hatano is the culprit just like that? Why is the person who was picked up being silent, but the others are noisy? Hey, why are you being quiet? Are you exercising your right to remain silent? Or you think this is a joke? It's just that it's so absurd that you've left me speechless. I'm still standing here, and I'm being treated as a criminal? I mean, this isn't funny, Ayame-chan. You can't be the culprit. Oh, anything to object to then? Of course, you don't seem to realize it yet. I'll tell you why I can't be the killer. Okay. Non-stop debate, spinny time. What do we have? Inori's medical result. Wire trap. It's probably one of those two. Why can't you be the culprit? Okay, it looks like you guys are missing one thing in particular. Tamori's time of death. Do you remember it? It was 9:30. Time of death. Was it not specified in the Monokuma file? I thought it was. It was 9:30. Oh, yeah, saying it was it not specified, not like it wasn't specified. Okay, that makes sense. No, isn't that weird? Around 9:30 p.m., I was putting the fire with Kinjo and the others. Accurately, that's true. So it happened. Tamori might have told someone to meet at 9:30 p.m. and she was stabbed in surprise. At the time she was still dead, I didn't see anyone. I can't be the culprit. What? Huh? If Tamori's death was definitely 9:30 p.m., then Hatano has an alibi. But there's something so unnatural about it. If Tamori really died at that time, the crime would be impossible for anyone. Even so, the Monokuma file doesn't tell lies. Let's think of the arrangement. She reminds me of what's been said before. If you think about her words, the secret behind Tamori's unnatural time of death will also be solved. What? Huh? Secret note. No. Wire trap. Burned fuse line. I'm really confused. I am really confused about this. "9:30 p.m. Huh? Tori might have told someone to meet at 9:30 p.m. and she was stabbed in surprise. She might have told to meet with someone at 9 p.m. What? It seems like they want me to say that the time of death was not 9:30, but I don't know. I don't know what proves that. Oh wait, Inori's medical result, is that talking about... Oh, it goes back to that she didn't die instantly again. I'm pretty sure that's it. Stabbed in surprise. Yeah, okay. I thought the medical result was talking about Hatano's injury and not Kazuna herself. Okay, that makes sense. Hatano, is that really so? What? Is this your opinion, Hatano? Because the time of death is 9:30 p.m., the culprit killed Tamori by stabbing Tamori at 9:30 p.m.? Of course. Tamori's death is a stabbed neck as a reminder. It must have been an instant death at the moment. But that's not the case. Huh? Even if you argue that Hatano's words are true at first glance after putting some consideration to the circumstances, at that time, the killer was not already inside the Switchium. Maeda is right. You have no choice but to. This is a problem you solved earlier, right? From the time her fire started to ignite, Tamori must have been stabbed by her knife. Yeah, otherwise the alibi trick of breaking a window remotely would be meaningless. But then, what happened to Tamori's time of death? No matter how much you think about it, Tamori's death at 9:30, it makes no sense. Everyone listen carefully. From here on out, the reasoning behind this is a little mixed, meaning perhaps Tamori, before Hatano discovered the fire, it may have been already around 9 o'clock with a knife on her neck. What? Super grotesque. That's far-fetched, Maeda. Are you really thinking about it? Are you able to prove that a human being can live for 30 minutes with a throat pierced? I don't really believe it either, but I'm not saying this for no reason. There is evidence that Tamori survived that long. The first thing I came to think of this was because of Inori. Thanks a lot. Me? That was when Inori was investigating, wasn't it? Remember what you said to me after examining Tamori's body? What should I say? It's a terrible amount of bleeding. Humans die of excessive bleeding when about 1/3 of the blood volume flows out, but this is not about 1/3, as you can see. It's amazing that even this amount of blood came out. The wound on the neck is definitely fatal, but it should have coagulated to some extent, and the amount of bleeding should have gradually decreased after the heart stops beating. That means, are you saying something else produced the mass bleeding? No, I cannot confirm this with my own opinion. It is rare, but if your blood pressure is strong, then the amount of bleeding increases. That much I know for sure. To put it simply, there are individual differences. Well, having a lot of bleeding in here means it took quite a while before death. Thanks to this, Tamori must have died in a very terrible pain. Think about it. Around 9:30, Tamori just had a stab by a knife on her neck. If she died when we found it, the blood would not have been spread out. Of course, when we discovered it, there was still a little bleeding, but much of this started to harden, and it is unnatural to say that such a deep liquid had been flowing after 9:30. That makes sense, but Maeda, did you forget Tamori's wound is not just the neck? Could it have flowed out of a stomach wound? Of course it is possible, but there's another proof that says she's been alive for a long time after being stabbed by the neck. Tamori died in a blow as soon as her throat was pierced. There was a sign that should never be there. Because Tamori knew who the real killer was, who killed them other than Taira. Such a marker was written by them. Another proof that Tamori was alive is... persistent will to survive, dying message modification. This? The reason is because of the dying message. Dying message? Didn't that story end earlier, pointing to the maid word? Yes, but when I came back to it, I could see something I didn't before. There was a big X after the word maid. That meaning is correct, as we guessed before, not the maid. Come to think of it, was it written by Tamori? I thought Taira wrote it as a self-act. It was the reason we found it in the dying message. I mentioned this before, but after seeing the blood, I just went to the bathroom right away. I couldn't afford to think about that. Yeah, it's not Taira. It's likely the former idea. Tamori wrote the word maid in her own blood to let us know. If that's the case, why was there an X next to it? It wasn't the criminal's own doing, but the reason the victim herself adds an X and writes not the maid... I see. She tried to correct the dying message as she wrote maid because there was another person who stabbed her neck while she was writing the letters. Yes. If Tamori died immediately as soon as her throat was cut, there wouldn't be a correction of the dying message, as she would have been left out of her strength to muster. But even after being stabbed in the neck, her will still was living as much as being able to correct the message with all of her strength, while holding a knife to her throat. How Tamori had a cut throat and was alive that much, I don't know. But the things I said now prove that Tamori was still alive under these conditions. Therefore, even if Tamori's time of death was 9:30 p.m., there's no evidence that you can say that you are incapable of committing this crime. It can't be. This is a lie. Hey, Ame-chan. Really? This is such a ridiculous story about being alive with a stabbed neck. Hey, Ame-chan, please say something. It's hard to believe, but humans are creatures that sometimes achieve phenomena beyond it. It happens sometimes even in terror scenes. Nothing strange at all. What? Then... Hatano, are you really the culprit? I don't know why Hatano did this. If my reasoning was wrong, it would be really weird, but there are many situations. The more I think Hatano is the culprit, the more it fits. Hatano, let me hear it from your own voice. The truth. Whoa! Okay. Okay, clearly there's a lot more to this trial than I really thought. Jesus Christ, this is long. I need to go for the night. I am really tired, and there's clearly still, like, at least, like, 30 minutes left in this. I don't have 30 minutes in me right now. So I'm going to cut back to tomorrow. So, see you then. Hello, I'm back. I tried to record, like, 10 minutes of this. I only lost 10 minutes, and I didn't even progress the trial at all. I kept getting stuck at this rebuttal, and then my recording failed, so I had to start again. So now I'm here. I'm just gonna not even include the 10 minutes of me dicking around in this rebuttal showdown, because I just look like an idiot, and I still don't even know what to do. Also, it's a new day from when I last recorded this trial last night. My voice is not as good, so I'm gonna be a little light on the voice acting towards the end of this trial, and possibly the next chapter as well. I don't feel like explaining all that again, so let's just try to get back into this rebuttal. I have no idea what I'm supposed to shoot here. I think it's this. I think it's Hatano's injury. It seems to be what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know for sure. I already had to die here before. So it's possible I'll have to cut immediately after starting to record again. And if that happens, I'll probably just not even include this intro. Is this right? Fine, a fucking lead. Jesus, jeez, oh my god. I still don't even know what the problem with that was. I mean, I'm also tired, so it's very hard to focus. Inori, I'm sorry, but there is another evidence that Hatano is the culprit. Inori's argument is clear. The culprit wouldn't hurt themselves, right? Of course, isn't it? If you are the killer, you're not supposed to aim at yourself. What if it was calculated to induce that thought? What? What are you talking about, Maeda? Surely you don't mean... If you are a criminal, you can never hurt yourself. What if you were doing a self-play to deliberately draw out that thought? Otherwise, there is no gain for a killer to install the wire. They ended up murdering and finished the process, but after that, when they installed the wire and aimed at someone, it only adds suspicion. There's no benefit from it for the killer. Something maybe there was a reason to put there, isn't there? That's right, I'm sure there is. That's why Ayame-chan is not the culprit, and that's not the only thing. Even if the killed had some reason, they installed wires to target someone. Even so, how exactly do you intend to cut the leg tendon? Our stride length and calf size are all different. That's... Hey, cutting the tendon may not have been the purpose. Ayame-chan suffered a fatal injury because of bad luck. If that's the case, I wouldn't install the wire. You don't need to use wires while holding at risk your future. Then, I was aiming at Ayame-chan from the start, so I installed the wire exactly in the position of Ayame-chan's tendon. How do you know that? It is difficult to know the position of a tendon without prior knowledge, but you install it while calculating the trap to trip over? The only one of us who has that knowledge is a surgeon, Inori. Her own legs at the time, who knows more about muscles of athletes than Hatano herself. That she can't be. Inori, Hatano was never caught in a trap because of bad luck. Because she was caught in a trap she installed, she was able to produce such a perfect tendon-cutting accident. Whew, that was pretty good. It's really her. Why did Hatano... Well, I'm the one who saw Hatano's wound. I can't believe that she made a wound so full of evil intention. Ayame-chan can't be the culprit. I'd rather be the culprit, even if I'm executed only for Ayame-chan. I can't believe it either. I wish it was all lies. I wish it was all dreams. I wish my reasoning has been turned into a mess and wake up from this nightmare. Is this how everything ends up? You can see it like that. Overall, I have the same opinion as Maeda, but I want to hear at least a confession from her mouth, because I have to make sure. Well, it's too late to argue at this point. Ayame Hatano, can I take your vote of silence as your affirmation of your crime and end this already? Damn, she's not saying a thing. Wait, not Ayame-chan. It can't be her. After all, it was me who stabbed Tamori. I'm the one who gets executed. I'd rather do that. Ayame-chan is innocent. Akane doesn't have to be executed. Ayame-chan. And, of course, not me either. Ayame-chan? Going to try a last act, huh? It's not that. I just want to survive with Akane and leave this place. That's it. Don't tell me that was her motive. Your crime is already logical and there's nothing wrong. Do you think force will work? I'm not convinced. If I'm the culprit, you haven't proved it without a doubt yet. Isn't a trial supposed to be won after you convince the criminal to admit their defeat? You fool. What are you going to do? Does anyone know any evidence to satisfy this killer who talks like that? It doesn't matter if I tell you, but wouldn't it be less fun? Oh, slacker, it's a trial and you have to take it seriously, I tell ya. It's all over anyway. I have to play around while watching this futile struggle. But there's no mystery to solve anymore. What are you planning to do now? Even if you say that, Ayame-chan's words assume what if. Ayame-chan is not saying they're the culprit. Nevertheless, it's hard. Okay, then let's reorganize the case from the beginning. Then we may not notice if something was missed. Let's go ahead. Go, where are we going? Stay still, you big crazy guy. One more. The definitive proof to convince Hatano I think there is something left. If Hatano is convinced by saying this, if she's convinced, how should I react? Hatano is the culprit. Should I just accept that? Even so, I have no choice but to do it as long as I've come to this point, and then show them the proof of her crime. Terminate and talk shooting. I think I'm good. Is this... This is like the final blow, not the closing argument, right? Okay, yeah. I'm not the killer. Think again, Maeda. And she got little shoes on it. That's cute. Oh my god, I gotta reload, I forgot. Oh my fucking god, she's talking a lot. Keep reloading. Reload. Not the killer. Jeez. I gotta reload here. Shit. Ugh. Okay. Convince me. Oh my fucking god. Jesus. This is way harder than Nich's was. Did I make it? You can't hurt yourself without being crazy. Is there any evidence that the killer was self-inflicted? Left thigh... Wait. Left side thigh tendon cut? Wait, none of this doesn't make any sense grammatically. What? No. Left side thigh tendon cut. Okay, I feel like you could have arranged any of those words together and it still would have not really made sense, but it would have made just as much sense as like any possible arrangement of them. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. First, I want to ask Inori just to be sure. To me? Of course. Where did Hatano say she was injured? Her thigh, more precisely, left side wide leg laceration caused by hamstring injury, although... Hey, Maeda, why are you asking this for all of a sudden while dealing with me? Are you giving up after all? Inori, that hamstring refers to a muscle that is important to keeping the leg straight, right? Where exactly is the location of that muscle? Right, it's one of the 3 places that connects the hip with the leg. To put it simply, it is a muscle that is widely distributed in the back of the leg. That's it, but what is the explanation for? Hey, don't talk about anything that doesn't matter, Maeda. Since Ayame-chan is innocent, there's no more room for refutation anymore. No, this is important. Very important, in fact. Inori's words just had a decisive clue that Hatano is the culprit. Eh? Everyone heard what Inori said, right? Hitano's injury is on the back muscle of the left thigh. Yeah, the back. But then why did Hitano go forward to pick up the flashlight, and the back of the thigh ended up hurt? Oh. What? Oh, it's true. I only cared that Hitano was hurt. I didn't think it was suspicious, but it's weird when you think about it. She stumbled forward, but she got hurt on the back of her leg. That's... Even if I fall back, my nose breaks. But I guess this doesn't matter now. I can't think of any other reason but one. Hitano, from the very beginning, on her own volition, she was caught deliberately in the trap to inflict a wound as fatal as possible. My god, then it means that it was entirely self-inflicted? Really? I don't know why you did that, but it may have been to pretend to be a victim and to be less suspicious. It's my guess. That can't... No. Something... There's gotta be a mistake. Hitano? I wish I was lying. Why, this is a choice. If you want to get out of the game, then just lie. Why don't we make a conclusion now? I wasted enough time, and I'm getting tired of various factors, such as the vitality of a cockroach of Taira Akane and Tamori Kazuna. Although I believe it's all over now. No. No, no! Something is wrong. Ayami-chan wouldn't do this. I mean that. Ayami-chan was never the type to kill. The person who was driven as a criminal is still there. Why are you upset? You just stay put. Taira, it's really hard to accept, but we have to accept the conclusions we've drawn. Otherwise, nothing will end and nothing will begin. Now then, let's finally do a final summary of all the events thus far, so that everyone can accept the answers we have presented. So everyone can choose. Okay. Let's do climax reasoning. Okay. Oh, look at Kazuna in that spread. Look at Monokuma in that picture. That's really cute. Okay, so what do we got here? People who discovered the fire put it off. Even the culprit was also involved. The culprit blocked a large amount of blood from dripping with a piece of a cloth that covers the entire body. Taira came to switch him at someone's request. That's probably the one we gotta do first. Culprit deliberately tripped over a wire trap they installed, also left injuries. Yeah. Taira was in a state of panic when she saw blood in her hands. In order to make it as if there was a fire, the culprit installed a fuse line and set it there. Okay. So this one. Yeah, this is definitely the first one we gotta do. Put that one there. Okay. Go back to this one. Well, not back, but forward. There's nothing here. It's the struggle. This is probably this one. Yeah, Taira's in a state of panic. Okay. This one's got nothing. Oh boy. Okay, this is where Hitano actually came in. Is that where that happens? No, that's later. Okay, no, this one. I want this one for sure, right now. Okay. Ugh, that picture is gross. This is where we do the fuse thing, pretty sure. Thankfully, the closing arguments are not too difficult to figure out. What is this? No, that can't be it, because that's like... That's way later. Come on. That feels like it... I feel like that wasn't at this point, but maybe it was. I'll put it here for now, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the last part of it. Okay, I think that's right. That second to last one felt kind of weird, but I don't know. Nothing else seemed right, so... Start of this case begins after the first trial ends and the second floor opens. It was a late night on the second day after she got out. At this point, there was someone who stopped by the antique shop for a purpose. She got some tools from the antique shop. The tools they brought this time were the fuse, lighter, flashlight. Surprisingly, this person's identity was Tamori, who was also the victim of this incident. Now we know, but Tamori has been planning the murder this time. Yeah, even before we shared our motives. All of the tools she picked up earlier were tools that Tamori had produced in advance for use in a murder. As a result, she died, and the real culprit of this case was the one who used the tools that she had prepared. However, on the morning of the third day, Atori, who stopped by the antique shop every time, must have noticed that some items have already been missing. Sadly, he didn't tell us because he thought it was a simple mistake and would have created confusion. So without anyone knowing, Tamori's murder plan proceeded slowly, and then Monokuma gave us the motive. As everyone knows, this motive was a note with our secrets, but it was a joke that nobody cared about. But only Tamori was different. Tamori thought she could use this motivational note, so she decided to add a step to her original plan. That's right, me. It was an operation to use the secret note of Yuki Maeda to capture Taira and join forces. Tamori told Taira to come to the Switchium alone, and Taira headed to that place without any doubt. Taira may seem a little petty, but in fact she wasn't actually swayed. Tamori expected this to happen, and after the second day onwards, by acting weak, she wanted to weaken our boundaries. The appearance of being lonely, the appearance of hesitation, the appearance of accepting us with tears. It was only a fake scene to kill even a little more smoothly. That's the true nature of Tamori Kazuna. We were all fooled by Tamori. Taira, at the time, she wasn't wary of Tamori at all, so she went to the Dark Switchium. There, Tamori showed Taira a secret note and revealed a plan to kill me. Taira said that Tamori picked up a secret note that someone discarded from the trash can. It was written like this: Yuki Maeda may actually know the identity of the mastermind. Of course, this is not true, because I don't know who the mastermind is. But in order to kill me with that pretext, she needed Taira's help. Tamori tried to get Taira out like that. But Taira didn't follow Tamori's words. No matter what, murder shouldn't be done by anyone. When things didn't work out as intended, Tamori gradually began to reveal her nature. Once Taira refused, she couldn't let Taira leave, the one who had heard the murder plan. So instead, Tamori changed the target. The one who she expected to refuse her was decided to be killed in front of her. Tamori ran into Taira without warning, but luckily Taira avoided the first strike. Taira panicked by Tamori's sudden attack. Taira tried to run away, but she was pushed by Tamori and fell. Then she tried to resist Tamori, swinging a knife right in front of her nose. In the process, the flashlights that Taira and Tamori had were broken by a struggle, and the Switchium, which lost its only light, they were struggling in the deep darkness. Several minutes continued during this fierce encounter, but at some point the struggle suddenly ended. I don't know why Tamori became quiet, but Taira, who was in danger of her life, decided to leave the Switchium because she wanted to get out of the situation. The first thing that Taira found out when she got out of the dark Switchium in a bright spot was the intense color of blood. Taira only saw the blood on her body. Of course, it wasn't her own blood and shit. Tamori in the middle of the struggle without even knowing herself. Sorry about that. Taira, who was shocked in fear and horror in her head, went to the bathroom. She thought about washing the blood quickly from her. But looking at Taira like this, the culprit perhaps found out what she had done. It is not clear whether or not they saw Taira in person, but the killer must have found Tamori within that short time after Taira left the power room. If someone other than the culprit in this case discovered Tamori, they might have saved Tamori by calling Inori, but the culprit in this case didn't have that thought in mind at all. In any case, the culprit who noticed the situation in the Switchium must have found Tamori in a dying state caused by Taira. Tamori tried to target Taira, but she was forced to act as she did not die immediately. The reason for this can be found in the dying message she wrote. Tamori, realizing that she was going to die, wrote on the floor with her own blood to let us know the identity of the killer, who stabbed her. Not maid, in other words, to refer to the ultimate maid student, Taira. The thought that passed by the killer's mind so far was not thinking of telling everyone to save Tamori. The thought of killing Tamori was that she couldn't breathe just so that they would blame the wrong person. For them, the killer committed a terrible act that was hard to think of as a human being. In order to give a certain final blow, they first pulled out a knife stuck in Tamori's stomach. It was already cruel enough to do this, however. They aimed the knife again at Tamori. Ugh. Just to put it back on her neck. In the process, blood spurted like a fountain, but the killer was wearing a piece of cloth about the size that could cover them, preventing the blood from splattering them. In contrast to Tyra, who stabbed Tamori in an accident and unintentionally, you can see that it was extremely premeditated crime. That's how Tamori lost their strength to live. Tamori thought about killing, of course, and even tried to kill Tyra. Still, did she have to die so badly? Either way, the culprit who succeeded in killing Tamori through a fatal wound now was staring at a backup operation. First, the killer installed the fuse, drawing a line around the walls of the switchium. I don't know where Tamori originally intended to use it, but they used the tools Tamori had. In the end, since Tamori prepared the tools, the killer themselves couldn't be suspected of this act. In actuality, we had a pretty hard time figuring out who brought the tools because of this. The fuse was installed mainly on the glass window as to not burn equipment as much as possible, and then lit it with a lighter. The lighter who was originally brought by Tamori, and the reason the glass was made to break automatically was because when the temperature inside the switchium becomes hot after a certain period of time, using the temperature difference between indoors and outdoors. While the criminal himself was with the others, if they heard the cracking sound as long as they made them think, someone inside the switchium broke the glass. The killer had the perfect alibi. This was the unusual structure of the switchium, and the glass window was cleared. It was possible because of the characteristics of the room, but this trick wasn't that meticulous. No one noticed the fire when the fire was being made. It was a futile trick, so the killer put the plan into action than anyone else. After completing the installation of the fuse, the criminal reported the fact of the fire with a loud voice as if they were the fire discoverer. Some of the people who heard this sound came to the front of the switchium as the culprit intended. Those who heard the killer's voice at the time were Kinjo, Makaru, and Yuhara. Those three people. At this point, three people who had not yet known that the murder occurred decided to extinguish the fire first without even dreaming that they were there with the killer. 3. No, even the killer came with the fire extinguisher from the hallway and started to extinguish the flames. But then, to us, the killer, to anyone, something unimaginable happened. Tamori, who must have had her throat pierced with a kitchen knife, was still alive. It's strange enough to say that it's a contradiction when you think about it in general, but Tamori, the victim, was holding on to the thread-like lifeline. And Tamori used all of her last strength. She corrected the dying message that wrote "maid" with a large X next to it. In other words, it was telling us this, not the maid. I would have liked the killer's name instead, but just an X with the throat stabbed. It was already an incredible feat to do. After correcting the dying message, Tamori's life was gone, bleeding because her heart was beating until the amount of blood increased more than that of an ordinary person, and thanks to that, we could prove Tamori was still alive. Of course, that would have been fatal for the killer, yes. Originally, only looking at the words "maid" put Tyra in doubt. She could have done it, but because the X was left remaining for no reason at all, the elaborate plan was doomed to fail. Tamori, even though she tried to kill and couldn't be forgiven, she acted, at the end of the day, she was trying to tell us the correct answer with all her strength. And the situation goes back to the power room. When the fire was put off and the setup was almost completely staged, suddenly hearing the sound of the glass breaking inside the switchium. This was done in the best conditions intended by the killer. Thanks to this, everyone thought someone inside the switchium broke the glass. Everything was the way the killer wanted. The killer who was on the scene at that time, I would imagine they had a smile of satisfaction. The three of them, except Yuhara, who went to watch the entrance to check the sound, went inside the switchium, and there saw Tamori's body. At that point, the body discovery announcement rang. The others who heard the body discovery announcement arrived one by one. Everyone gathered in the power room. Perhaps Tyra, who was in the position of the third party at this time, was most surprised because Tyra did not know the existence of the criminal. She thought she was the culprit, and yet a fire incident happened that Tyra herself did not know. So when we received the Monokuma file and started investigating, the killer started the last act. First, the killer puts the third flashlight they used on the floor. The flashlight was also in a state of charcoal because it was caught in the fire. The reason why is because they threw something that catches our eyes on the floor in order to create a certain situation. The killer installed a sharp wire in the way of the flashlight, and she talked as if she had found a flashlight and voluntarily walked to pick it up. Yes, even though she knows they have a sharp wire installed. Here, the killer deliberately gets caught in the wire trap and cut their own leg. It was also precisely aimed at cutting the back tendon. I didn't even think at the time that the killer was going to cripple their own leg, although it was the culprit's intention to make us think so. One mistake of the killer here is that the rear tendon was cut despite the walking forward, but I didn't even think about it because a person who saw an injured one at the time wouldn't think that. It must have been the culprit's idea, whose purpose was to get out of here. The culprit even gave up one leg of himself and showed a look of being a victim in all this. Thanks to it, we almost got hooked into thinking, would you cut your own leg? While staring at us, the killer would have been laughing inside. In this case, there were 3 people, including the killer, Tamori and Tyra. But also, most of the suspicions went to Tyra, so the identity of the killer was ambiguous. However, as a result of matching Tyra's honest statements with various situations, we were able to uncover the identity of the killer. The criminal who tried to hide their identity by throwing away their leg, the perpetrator who committed such a terrible thing to Tamori, the identity of the culprit who is smiling with a smile of deceit watching our actions behind the scenes. It's no one else other than you, Hatano Ayame. Okay, I'm a little confused because... Okay, I could be wrong about this, but they're making it seem, at least, that, like, she did it so that Akane would not be the killer. So that she would not technically be the one who killed Kizuna, so that Hatano could take the fall for Akane. And if that's the case, that's a sweet motive, but also, like, why was she hiding it, like, this whole time? Like, why would she... Because, like, Akane will just die if we get the wrong vote and don't suspect her, so... I'm a little confused about this, but we'll see if that is explained. How about it, Hatano? If you have anything to object to, please do. No, wait a minute, something is wrong. It's not like this. Really? What's not it? It's all decided. Shouldn't we see the end now? No, it's not over. It can't be over. But even if everything is correct and there's evidence, I can't convince myself Hatano is the killer who murdered Tamori that way. Damn it, Hatano. Damn it. It's all over then. No. Ayame-chan, please. Tell them they're wrong. No. What? Oh. She's just not even gonna say anything. Well. What? That sucks. Are you serious? I don't get any medals? Bro, I'm pissed. Is that how it works in the canon games? I don't remember that being a thing. Jesus Christ. I mean, fuck, man. Only 3 hearts is so unfair. Especially when I have to... I'm not gonna be too upset about it, man. Whatever. Oh, what? Are you done? Oh, what the hell. You guys took so long that I was asleep at the middle of it. Nope, I never slept. Mr. Monokuma, did you sleep? Oh, no doubt. Okay, well, anyways, you guys seem to have come to your own conclusion, so it's okay to go into voting time soon. Now then, you guys, vote with the switch in front of your hands. As I said last time, we do not accept invalid votes, so press carefully. As a result of the voting, who will become the blackened? And the answer will be the correct answer or the wrong one. Now, what will happen? I don't know. Let's see. Yippee. Gosh, stinking dang. That's amazing, you're correct. Tamori Kazuna was terribly killed, like that, by the ruthless Blackened. Which it was Ayame Hatano, that's the answer. The answer, did we do it? Did we get the culprit? Why is it the correct answer? I'm not happy to guess this, damn it. Oh, by the way, the vote wasn't unanimous. Miss Tyra, no matter how much you want it, voting on yourself, you don't want a suicide, okay? Who would believe what you're saying? I won't admit. It's a big deal, so be careful next time. Anyway, whatever you say, there's only one truth, but I said it right. I don't lie when it comes to class trials. Is this real? Is Hatano really the killer? Of course she is. I guarantee this. You guys said the answer you came up with at the end, right? Denying this is nothing more than escape from reality. It's a lie, right, Ayame-chan? Only the judge was talking. Everyone couldn't even breathe, because the result of the trial was so terrible. Miss Tyra played the role of accomplice, so the case was extremely extreme, but it was also because the incident happened late at night. Why? I ask why? Why did such a girl like you kill her? You watch your mouth, Kobushikawa-kun. This can't be true. How is Ayame trying to kill her? We want to believe that, but... Stop it, Akane. Yeah? Any more than this, and it's only make it worse. I can't hide it anymore. What are you talking about, Ayame-chan? You can't hide it? Oh, if you say it like that, it makes you look like a culprit, you know? I'm sorry. You're sorry? Why are you apologizing? Why? Tamori was killed. By me. What? Yeah, well, you don't have to make another announcement, because Monokuma already confirmed it. Why did you... Did she have to kill, even going as far as breaking your own leg? That's right. If the answer we came up with is correct, doesn't that mean we all said all our reasoning was correct? We were asking to end the trial early so that we could heal your leg as soon as possible. If you're the killer, it doesn't make sense. I don't believe it. I won't believe it. I can't believe this. Yeah, in the end, you were also a murderer. It's surprising, but the word unexpected doesn't apply to criminals. Because even outside of these walls, there are piles of criminals who are doing heinous things with dismal faces. Why did you do it? Please answer us. Why did you do that? That's obvious. It's because I want to get out of here. Huh? Isn't that obvious? Other than that, there's no reason to commit a murder. To get out of here and seek my freedom. I want to return to my usual daily living. That's why everyone has no choice but to sympathize. It was just the choice of murder as means. OMG? What the fuck, Satsuki? What did you just say? Ah, you finally got my plan. I thought it was perfect because I could use Taira Akane. No, Hatano! What, in the end? You were just the same person as Higa? This is what nature is, after all. Nobody can judge just by looks. Now I must know. The evil face that committed this murder. Oh, you caught me. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Wait, what? Is this Hatano's true nature? She just wanted to get out of here, and for that reason she killed Tamori? Really? That's all? Something just doesn't feel right. As Kinjo said, I shouldn't judge by appearance. This might be what Hatano really looks like, but what is this deep pain in my head? I can't see you with my eyes open anymore. Let's just end it. End it? You mean the execution? You are that kind of person, Hatano? For what the hell did we do this? Damn it! On who did we trust for? Monokuma, get it started. Now wait a second, can we finish things like this? Can we really send Hatano like this? But Maeda, look at her. You may be right, but whatever you say to her won't work. Execution. Unfortunate for me, it was a waste. Hitano, is that really you? Are you saying you were pretending to be a human being? Yes. This is the real me. I thought you guys who were stupid couldn't figure out my tricks. I guess you weren't so bad after all. What did you say? Hey, please stop, Hitano. If I look at Hitano's appearance any more than this, I'll go crazy. Hitano, you really don't have regrets? Are you satisfied with your actions? Of course, it's my execution. Come on, if you say regret, I couldn't get out of here. That's all I regret. Lies. What? You wanted to get out of here. It's a lie. What? You think me know you? You know me, don't you? It's not a lie. I did murder because I wanted to get out of here. That's all. If you wanted to leave this place, you wouldn't have cut your own leg. What do you mean? Hitano did murder, that's correct, but there must have been another reason. You like acting as a villain, but your body is trembling, Hitano. Curses. Then the Hitano we just saw, she was just acting? You mean she's acting crazy on purpose? So then why did she really kill? Kurikawa, I can't. Hitano. After saying that, Hitano's appearance returned to normal. At that moment, I felt the pain disappearing from my mind, and the sense of incongruity just before was gone. My hands are already dirty, and it might sound like an excuse, but please let me tell you, this is how I committed my murder. I was running down the second-floor corridor at the time of the incident. As you guessed, at the time I saw Akane running somewhere. She was going in such a hurry. I tried to talk, but then I realized... Akane's body was covered in blood. I went into the power room where Akane had come out, with no doubt. I found out that something had happened inside the switchium. I took a flashlight in a hurry to check the condition inside, and Tamori was dying, and there was a knife stuck in her stomach, as you all said. Then why did you kill her there? You could have thought of a way to call the others, and let Tamori live. Because that was not the case. It was not the case? According to the facts I've seen, when I discovered her, Tamori was almost dead. I knew she wasn't dead because she was breathing hard, but that was it. She was already on the brink of death. That was until she got killed by you. I was worried, anxious, and scared. If Tamori dies, Akane becomes the killer. It was a scary thought. Yep. I wanted to throw that thought away. What? At that time, I really wanted to think about it. That kind and good-natured Akane. Why would she stab Tamori? I learned that it was an accident, though, before the trial, but at the time, she had no idea. In my head, I just went like this because I only thought about Akane becoming the black end of this case. I couldn't leave her alone. I couldn't leave my friend alone while knowing everything. Throwing everything away for the sake of survival. Wait a minute, then the reason Hitano committed murder was... Hey, Ame-chan. Because of me? To release me from becoming the blackened? I just couldn't stay put and watch Akane being executed for pretending I didn't see it. I also wanted to call Inori to heal Tamori. But if Tamori's breathing goes out while I get to Inori, then Akane would have been executed without fail due to my mistaken judgment. I couldn't allow that to happen. What? You. Then from the very beginning, you were thinking of dying instead of Tyra? And that including the cut on her tendon. All of that was to protect Tyra? What? This is the truth. I just couldn't say I didn't know about my friend's crime. A sad tragedy born from friendship. For a while, no one could speak. Inside the courtroom, only Tyra's wailing was the only voice ringing in our ears. Was that really the only reason? Yeah. It is a commendable... excuse me, Jesus Christ. It is a commendable act to lay down one's life for others. It's not possible without some courage. In that aspect, you deserve to be recognized. But if those were the only intentions to do that, it would not have been necessary to go to a trial like this, right? Even if you reveal the facts to everyone and accept the execution, your intentions do not change. But at the time of the trial, your appearance became as if you looked desperate. Hey, Makaru, if you say anything more to Hitano, I won't let it stand. Even if you're a woman. What? I'm not scared of you, idiot, and shut up. I'm talking with Ayame Hitano right now. No, it's okay. Calm down, Kabushikawa. Sure, Makaru, there was something else. What else was there? I didn't tell you this as it would sound like an excuse, as I said the first time. As Makaru pointed out, doing this for Akane may have been just a pretext. I'll tell you everything. I can't be said there was no darkness in my heart. Somewhere in my mind, it was like, it's okay because it's for Akane, but there was also the desire to get out from this place. It must have existed in my mind at one point. It did? Oh, but even with your leg like this. This was a meaning of apology to you guys if I succeeded in escaping. Oh. Oh, shit. Damn. Even if my leg is paralyzed, everything is already too late. What are you saying? Motive. The first motive that we got when Maki was murdered. The outside world I saw there was a terrible world that couldn't even run properly. Huh? How is that possible? So in the end, the initial motive was the driving force, too. Other than me, my co-workers and rivals, they can't even walk anymore. But if that's the case, what's the use of getting out of here with my legs fine? What? How did that happen? Hatano, what happened? I thought the video was just a manipulation. And I thought Hatano would be the first to run non-stop and never be fooled. I know, but I wanted to check if it was real. Until I saw it with my own eyes, I was nervous. And every day it drove me like crazy. This wasn't recent. From the time Maki had been running around in my head. I had nightmares every night, and I was always confused when I was with her. All that can be said of me is that the fact that something has gone blank. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. No one objected to Hatano. The feeling Hatano felt was exactly the same as me, because I still remember my family. And when I was alone, I couldn't stay still because of anxiety. After all, every breath was about the motive again and again. We were vigilant about that new motive, called the secret note, but the motive that I was given the first time, no matter how many new motives came out, it did not disappear. The intense image was clearly stuck in our minds. I understand the feeling, but you were weird. I don't feel a strong will like Mitsuhiro Higa. The desire to go outside. Was it a conflict? Conflict? Will you lose us for the chance to leave outside? Would you accept death? For your dear friend Taira, you were in conflict, weren't you, Hatano? It wasn't as big as that, but by the time I had appointed me as the culprit, I had already given up on escaping. After everything was revealed. But the reason I got ugly and struggled until the end, it was because of Akane. I was relieved to learn that it was only an accident that Akane stabbed Tamori. During the trial, because I knew Akane was the way I knew her. Even though after I was driven as the culprit, Akane tried to deny my crime more severely. Than me, the culprit, to prevent me from getting executed. I am the one that betrayed you all and committed murder. I'm a little happy inside. Like I wanted Akane not to die. She has the same mind, too. More than that, how disappointed Akane would be if I admitted the crime. Not to mention, Maeda and Kinjo couldn't be beaten. Why are you smiling? Huh? Oh, you're angry, Akane. I know you would be disappointed, but I'm sorry. Why? You did because of someone like me? How can you laugh like that? How can I laugh? Akane asks something very strange. Thanks to me, Akane is able to survive safely. Is there anything more simple than this? Hatano. Oh, damn it. In the end, I'm just an idiot who, after weighing in between dreams and bonds, I've done things that shouldn't be done. Still, I'm satisfied. I could have saved at least Akane. I feel somewhat relieved. Although my dream ends here, you guys don't make the same mistake like me. Go after the best dreams you believe in. I chose to protect my friend rather than my dream. Now I'll say goodbye to this world. But at least I have no regrets. Don't say goodbye or end it like that. If you make it sound so ominous, that really happens. It happens even if you don't say that. Monokuma. Well, I understand the title situation, but it's taking too long. Look, if this is a game, you have to think about the person who plays it. Hey, thanks, Monokuma. It's looking out for me. This Deadly Life video is like 4 hours long. I probably will end up splitting it up. Shut up, Monokuma. I don't know what Miss Hatano thought and what circumstances caused the murder. The important thing is the result. In the end, the fact that you killed Miss Tamori doesn't change one bit. Murder means the order has been broken. For a Placid who has broken it, an appropriate punishment is necessary. Yes, I am to be punished. You take the sin and pay the penalty for it. Oh, confident attitude. I don't like that. It's different from Higa-kun. But for Miss Hatano and Miss Tyra, it's whatever. In the end, the cause was that you wanted to go out, right? Hey. Why, Hatano-san a little while ago, say it with her own mouth. She was conflicted, because she wanted to go out. Shut up. You were the one who created this whole situation itself. What are you saying? What am I saying? Are you that stupid? Boo-hoo! If you forget the outside world, this wouldn't happen. You just need to live comfortably here, so if you want to get out, you have to go through a murder case. You should know this already. Stop spouting your nonsense and go ahead, disgusting bear. Fine, I won't meddle with you guys anymore. It's also because midnight already passed, so let's start. The heart racing punishment time. Oh, God, sorry. Monokuma voice. Very hard. I have prepared a very special punishment for Ayame Hatano, the ultimate sprinter, who is the black end of this case. Everyone, remember to get along. No, wait a minute. Ayame-chan, please wait. Oh, there are still many things I haven't told you. Ayame-chan. Let's go! All out! Ayame-chan, because of me, because of a fool like me, I stabbed someone by accident, and I didn't do any cleanup. I also just bothered you. I made this scene. Don't go. I'm going to die. All I need to do is die. Monokuma, wait. Wait. It's punishment time. Akane, I want you to be alive. Live. Wait. Wait. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh. Damn, dude. Oh, that stings. What the fuck is this punishment gonna be? Track and field. What is he standing at? Also, what is he, like, wearing? Is that a Monokuma on wheels? What the heck is that? Is she operating it? What? Oh no. Wait, is she in that? I'm confused. Ultimate Sprinter, dismantling, Wait, I did not see what that said. I'm still confused. Is she in that or the other thing? I'm guessing she's in the Monokuma one. Because she'd be, like, dead if she was in that already. Goal. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Wait, Oh. Yeah, there's like nothing left after that. God damn. Yahoo! This thrilling feeling of endorphins rising. It's fantastic profit. Ayame-chan. Ayame-chan. No. It's too much. Flesh, blood, Hatano. Oh no, I don't think I can hold it in anymore. Hatano was executed. So much cruelty, so mercilessly. I found myself closing my mouth to endure the vomit that had reached my throat. For her colleagues and her best friend, Hatano willingly gave up her life. How many people can do that in the world? That was the kind of person she was. Goodbye, Hatano. Evil, ugly, it's not a dream. How long do I have to continue this nightmare? That's up to you guys. It's a nightmare. If you guys forget only the outside world and live in harmony here, you're happy and you don't know what to do. You mentioned this in the first trial as well. Forget the outside world. You keep emphasizing the words. What is this purpose? What's the reason you want from keeping us inside? If I tell you that, it's a major spoiler. It might transform into a wave of protest. Shut up, you bastard! Why do you do this to us? Why? Tell us the reason.
Wouldn't be desperate to kill each other without knowing that.
Let's ask something different. The cost of entering execution of the school is nothing but ordinary. Absolutely impossible. What the hell are you? Where does this organization come from?
There are a lot of things that you are curious about. Good. Then would you like a special service? Everything that you see in this school, from the beginning, it was all here. I just modified it a tiny bit. I tried so hard to make you guys feel amazing despair, yet you guys ignored my warnings. Truly sad.
You're so noisy. What is despair? Is it so fun to play with a person's life?
Huh? Do you think I'm just doing this simply to enjoy it? Well, it's true at some point. Although I'm actually enjoying it. You guys don't know how important is all of this. Pooh! No clue at all.
What are you talking about?
Nothing you need to know. If you're curious, do your own research and find out. After all, it's written in the school rules. Investigation is always free to do so. Well, this is it. After enjoying a brilliant execution, I woke up because I'm feeling so worked up. But if I don't sleep, it's dangerous because I might sleep all day tomorrow. Of course, everyone did a good job. It seems to be a good despair finale, so at this point, the class trial is over. Good night.
After Monokuma disappeared, only Tyra's sobbing sound came from the trial grounds. Felt like I would go crazy too. It's an indescribable evil feeling, a feeling of despair beyond reason. It seemed like my body was being crushed by a tremendous pressure. But I cannot give up here. I have to move forward for the sake of our dead friends, even though I thought in my head my body wouldn't move nor follow. Can we really get out of here? The second trial is over. 4 people have lost their lives. Who will be next? Is it me? Ayame-chan. Tyra, calm down. Everyone is sad. It's all because of me. Kazuna-chan died because of me. Ayame-chan also died because of me. That's right, isn't it? All because of me. It's all because of me. Reprimanding for yourself. I all too well that it wasn't because of Tyra, but I just couldn't tell her anything. It's hard. It's too hard to put yourself up, but taking care of others would be a real sainthood. All we can do for Tyra is to let her cry freely without interruption. To be able to complain such difficult feelings with tears. It could have been me instead. It's ugly and noisy. What? Yeah, it's all because of you. I know you well enough. If you feel guilty like that, write a will and commit suicide already. Shut the fuck up. Hey, what did you say, Kinjo? Say it again. It's better to get behind a bitch blackened like you. Whoa. Blackened? Kinjo, are you crazy? Why are you suddenly saying all this stuff? I hate this the most. In my true sense, a blackened is subtly convicted of innocence, to avoid the law. Blackened, you mean Tyra? Is there anyone else who fits? Stop! This is bullshit! How many times has it been revealed that the stabbing Tyra did to Mori was an accident? Is that really what you say to someone who just lost a friend after their death? An accident? Of course it was. Kazuna Tamori started it all. However, who made the final blows, no matter the pretext, must be punished. The 2 were punished and killed, right? Tyra Akane, who is at the heart of the case. More than them, is alive and clean from this. Have you forgotten? Even if this woman had killed Tamori as an accident in the class trial, Akane Tyra made a false statement to hide her crimes. What would have happened if we were caught in that lie? Isn't it terrible to imagine? Directly or indirectly, Tyra Akane almost put us all at risk. But she couldn't help it, could she? Tyra knew she was guilty and she knew she would be executed if she told the truth. Then she shouldn't have done that in the first place. No matter how much of an accident it was, you think it makes sense to go and wash the blood to destroy evidence as you stab Tamori, a girl who is willing to say that they're innocent? Isn't it normal to at least support Tamori and give her first aid and call Inori as soon as possible? They do have a point. Please think of Tyra. The accident may have happened and a rescue might not have occurred because she was in a state of panic. No, I'm confident of this. If Tyra Akane was really the Blackened, it's certain for a fact that she would try to trick us with selfish thoughts. Stop talking. Kinjo, you bastard. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore.
Oi, calm down, Koba Boxer. Koba Boxer, get your fist down, manly boy.
You guys need to look at things objectively. What she did is wrong in every sense. There's still a lot to talk about, but I don't think it's the right time when everyone is on edge and confused as it is now. It's late today, so go to bed. I'll talk with you all tomorrow morning. Fuck off, dude. Hey, wait, dude, if you want to talk to me, then stop. Hey, you bastard. Are you gonna leave just like that? Hey. At least everyone is, like, in agreement, like, against him this time, that there's not, sure, there is some point to what he's saying, but I don't think it's enough to really treat Akane like a scum of the fucking earth criminal. Why is Kinjo doing this? It's like Kinjo was creating a separation between us. So what do we do now? Is Tyra going to recover? Losing a loved one is a very difficult feeling. Ah, that's right. Tyra, are you okay? Nope. I'm sorry. 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 Ooh. Tyra is all good now. Let's all rest for today. I don't feel good after a class trial. It's already late, near dawn. Go sleep. Let's do as Kurikawa suggests. Honestly, I can't afford to think right now. We'll listen to Kinjo tomorrow. Today we are going to sleep. Okay. I feel like the more we do this, the more harder we have to work. Everyone have a good night. Sleep well. I don't know how you could sleep after that. Being in such a situation is unusual in itself, but the current situation was much more than the first trial. Kinjo, who should lead everyone, seems to be getting twisted more and more, and our friends start to lose their lives one by one. What can I do at times like these? Play around with everyone and relax while learning about them? Follow my own dreams? Right now, I think it's impossible for anything to happen. I have no more power to think anymore. Let's sleep for today. Dang. I returned to my room. When I left the courtroom and returned to my dormitory, I greeted some of my friends and tried to chat a little, but everyone seemed to have no energy. That's no wonder. I'd only passed 3 or 4 hours before returning to my room, but within those 3 or 4 hours, we lost very precious things. It feels like it's been years, and then the stiff dorm bed that couldn't be comfortable is now feeling better than anything else. Tired. Ugh. A desperate situation in which we taste the despair of the death of our friends and do not know whether we will be able to stand up to stand again. What kind of despair awaits us from tomorrow? No, now I don't even think there's hope anywhere. Now I have only passed the second-class trial, but this is not the end. The despair surrounding us was approaching, involving us deeper and deeper. Whoa, what is going on? I thought the bars were just like the end title card, or chapter card, whatever. What the fuck is happening?
Hey, hello, I don't know if you're comfortable. Don't you feel uncomfortable?
Who is this?
Oh, it would be weird if you were tied up in public like this, but if you're comfortable... No way. If it is comfortable, you're a true maso, but you're not, right? Oh well, I came to bring the meal again today. Your appearance is still there, so take good care of your health until then. Boo! By the way, who could have thought you would be led like this? I'm really sorry for being like this and having to lock you up. In fact, it would have been nice if I let everyone stay with you too. Your body is one that cannot age, isn't it?
What? What? What does that mean? Huh?
Still haughty, huh? I like it. It will be alright when your turn comes. By that time, how many people will survive? Ha! Huh? What? Ah, I getcha. It's because that woman you love is still alive. There's nothing to worry about. I'll go there then, because if I'm not watching, I don't know what those guys will try to pull, so see you next time.
Huh? What? 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 Was that a 16th? Because there was only 15 of us. Is there someone else? Down to 11. Gosh dang. Well, what the fuck? Damn. Yeah, I would like to save. I would absolutely like to save. Alright, I guess I'm going to, I don't even know. Yeah, I'm just gonna end it here. Well, I just saved so I can just reload next time, but, yeah. Thanks for watching. I don't know what just happened. I'm gonna take a little break and, try to rest my voice for a little bit, and then next time I guess we'll come back with, Chapter 3. So, thanks for watching. Sorry, I know these past 2 episodes were probably weird because I think I am going to, end up just splitting them up, somehow or another. I don't know if it's going to be just 2 episodes, maybe even more than that, but this was a super long Deadly Life. Jesus Christ. So yeah, however I managed to do it, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.